people, and you are watching Alena Media TV. My name is Janet Agbalanyo. It's time for our African history, and before then, let's go for a break. When I come back, we'll delve into today's topic. Welcome back from that break. Today we are going to focus on Tigrinya, the one in Ethiopia. So those of you who don't know the history behind Tigrinya, Tigrinyans are an ethnic group in Tigray region in North Ethiopia. They speak Tigrinya language. Most Tigrinyans are traditionally agriculturalists, practicing plunge agriculture, that is the cultivation of the stiff, the sorghum, millet, wheat, and maize. So they are mostly a nomadic people. They are into cultivating of crops and also keeping cattle such as sheep and goats. And that is mostly their profession in Tigrinya. Some Tigrinyans group have strong local identity and used to have their own traditional, quite autonomous self-organization, sometimes dominated by the egalitarian assemblies of elders, families of local feudal dynasties. In some areas, the marital complex played a considerable role in achieving a social status, which leads to the creation of local honoring titles and social institutions, and historically to an active involvement in welfare of Ethiopia. Even the sons of simple peasants could rise considerably in the state of hierarchy. You know, hierarchy is when you have a systematic arrangement or alignment of authority. So you can have like the family unit, you have the father, the mother, and the kids. Even a community, they have the king, and then members in the assembly. Even the government, they have the president, the vice president, and the spokesperson. That is hierarchy. So from authority arranged systematically, either from the top to the down or the opposite, depending on the country or the state that we are looking at. So this does not exclude an important role of genealogical rules, and in some regions, such as the wider Adwa area, formerly the prevalence of feudal lords, who however still had to respect the local land rights. The majority of Tigrinyans trace their origin in early Semitic-speaking people whose presence in the region dated back to at least 2000 BC. Based on the linguistic evidence and knowing from the 19th century BC from inscriptions, the first possible mention of the group dates from around the 8th to the 10th centuries, in which period manuscript preventing the inscription of the Cosmas indigenous Aksum, which is important to participate in international trade from the 1st century AD. By the beginning of the 19th century, Henry Swartz, he is an Egyptian who traveled in the interior of Ethiopia, divided the Ethiopian region like the James Bruce into 3 districts and independent states. These 3 great divisions are Tigray, Amhara, and the province of Sahu. Henry considers Tigray as the more powerful state of the 3, a circumstance arising from the natural strength of the country, the warlike disposition of its inhabitants, and its vicinity to the sea coast, an advantage that had secured to its monopoly of all the misquits imported into the country. He divided Tigray kingdom into several provinces as the central, where it was considered the seat of the state, being referred to as Tigray proper, a region around the Ada and other province of this kingdom, including Endata, Agami, Wajrat, Dembian, and the Siri. The border between Tigray and the kingdom of Demar Dabari, Baharagash, was the Marab River through sometimes Medrin Bari, includes some parts of the Shari. The subgroups are composed of distinct groups and languages after a common ancestor, such as the Dakwi Disfa of the western lowlands of Siri and the Ad Bagwat, a name of the Sizanga dynasty of the Merab Melash. In addition, where our ancient more verge group designation above the level of subgroups used by elders as identity markers. Agazian, descendants of the Agazi, for the inhabitants of Agme and the Akali Guzi, and the Sabayon for the people of Aksum and the Yaha. The decline of the Tigrinians' population in Ethiopia during the Haile Selassie regime, in particular, is distance of the former Tigray province, which are given to the present-day Amhari region, like the Adi Akai, Kobo, and the Sanya, is likely to have been as a result of Haile Selassie's compression and the systematic persecution against the non-Amhari ethnic groups of Ethiopia in particular, in his immense system persecution of the Tigrinians. For example, somewhere around the 1958 famine of the Tigrinya, Haile Selassie refused to send some significant basic emergency food aid to Tigray, providing despite having the resources to do so. As a consequence, over 10,000 people died of the famine. Later on, the Magu Haile Mariam-led brutal military dictatorship also used the 1983 to 1985 famine in Ethiopia as government policy by restricting food supply for counter-insurgency strategy against the Tigray People's Liberation Front, and of social transformation in non-surgent area against people of Tigray province, Wali province as such, due to organization government policy that liberation multiplied the effects of the famine. Around 1.2 million people died in Ethiopia from this famine, where majority of the death toll were from Tigray province and other parts of northern Ethiopia. So this is a bit story about Tigray, the one in Ethiopia. There's some in Eritrea and others in Ethiopia. So this is basically from the one Ethiopia. This is African History. My name is Janet Agbalanyu, and you're watching Alena Media TV. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know your thoughts on this particular episode. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.